Attention passionate Washington Commanders fans. Latest news, something big is happening in the NFC East and it could change the game. We're talking about a direct impact on Washington Commanders' path to another Super Bowl run, a power shift that could leave a division rival stumbling for years. We're bringing this to you firsthand. But before that, if you're a true Washington Commanders fan, subscribe to the channel to strengthen this passion even more. Show that you're also part of this family. Let's help each other reach 1,000 subscribers. Share with YOUR, FRINDS and Washington Commanders FANS. Let's get to the news. Now folks, if you've been keeping an eye on the NFC East, you already know that the landscape is shifting and it's happening fast. The Washington Commanders, a team that's been quietly building and retooling, might just be on the verge of making a bold move that could reshape their entire season. And trust me, when you look at what's happening behind the scenes, it's impossible not to get excited. The focus right now is on strengthening that defense, which, let's face it, has been a bit of a roller coaster so far this season. But why is that? Well, injuries have hit hard on the offensive side, especially to their top weapons like quarterback Jaden Daniels and wide receiver Terry McLaurin. That's left the team looking for solutions, for reinforcements, and possibly a game-changer on defense. And what's really interesting is that there's a player available right now, a true game-changer, who could step in and make a significant difference. I'm talking about C.J. Gardner-Johnson, the former NFL interceptions leader and Super Bowl champion safety who was recently released by the Houston Texans. That's right, the Texans made the surprising move on September 23 to part ways with him, and this opens up a door for the Commanders. Now, I know what some of you might be thinking. Bringing in a guy like Gardner-Johnson could stir up some noise, some outside chatter, but let's not forget what he can bring to the table. This is a player who, just last season, was instrumental in the Eagles' defense, snagging 6 interceptions and helping lead them all the way to the Super Bowl. His ball-hawking skills are elite, and with the Commanders looking to bolster their secondary, he might be exactly what they need. Now let's dive a little deeper into who Gardner-Johnson is and what his potential addition could mean. During his time with the Eagles, he was renowned for his aggressive style, his ability to read plays, and of course, his knack for creating turnovers. In 2024, he had a solid start with the Texans, with 15 tackles in 3 starts, but the team's decision to release him was based on a mix of factors, not just performance. His history, both on and off the field, has been a bit of a mixed bag. He's been fined multiple times for various infractions, from taunting to late hits, and his fiery personality has sometimes caused controversy. But that's also part of what makes him a disruptive force on defense, his passion, his intensity. And here's an interesting tidbit for you, Commanders fans. The last time Gardner-Johnson faced the Commanders, it was in Week 16 of the 2024 season at Northwest Stadium in Landover. Washington won that game 36-33, snapping the Eagles' 10-game winning streak. That game was memorable for many reasons, but one moment stands out. Gardner-Johnson was ejected in the 3rd quarter after his second unsportsmanlike conduct penalty. As he headed to the tunnel, he took off his gloves and gave the fans a double middle finger salute, a move that didn't sit well with NFL officials, resulting in a hefty $45,000 fine. That moment, as controversial as it was, exemplifies the fiery nature that Gardner-Johnson is known for. And now, with the possibility of him joining the Commanders, that same fiery attitude could be a huge asset for their defense. Let's take a step back and analyze why adding Gardner-Johnson might be a strategic move for Washington. First, their secondary has shown flashes of brilliance, but also moments of vulnerability. With the injuries on offense, the team needs to keep the opposing offenses in check, and a safety with his ball-hawking ability could be the missing piece. His experience, especially in high-pressure moments, can be invaluable, especially as the NFC East heats up with fierce division rivalries. The Eagles, who traded him to the Texans earlier this year, clearly valued his playmaking ability, but his volatile personality was sometimes a concern for the team. Still, the Commanders might see that same fire as a positive, a player who plays with passion and isn't afraid to make big plays. Now, I know some fans might be cautious about bringing in a guy with a history of fines and fiery outbursts, but in today's NFL, sometimes a bit of edge is exactly what a team needs. Think about the impact he could have on their young defensive players, or even on the leadership in the secondary. His presence could elevate the entire unit, making opponents think twice before testing Washington's defense deep. Plus, the fact that he's a proven playmaker who's been to the Super Bowl and has a knack for creating turnovers adds a layer of confidence that the team desperately needs. The big question now is whether the Commanders' management is willing to take that risk. They're in a position where every win counts, and adding a player like C.J. Gardner-Johnson could be the difference maker down the stretch. His ability to read routes, make interceptions, and provide that extra punch in the secondary could turn their season around. And let's not forget, the NFC East is wide open this year. The Eagles, Cowboys, Giants, everyone is fighting for supremacy, but Washington has been quietly plotting their course. A trade or signing that brings in someone like Gardner-Johnson could be the catalyst that propels them over the top. Of course, integrating a player with his personality and history isn't without its challenges. There could be some pushback from teammates or coaching staff, but if they can harness his energy and focus it on the field, the potential payoff is enormous. And for fans, it's an exciting prospect, a bold move that shows the Commanders are serious about competing and winning now. The NFL is a league where adjustments happen all the time, and right now, this could be the move that shifts the balance of power in the NFC East. So, as we watch this story unfold, keep an eye on the upcoming days. Will the Commanders make a move for Gardner-Johnson? Will they bring him into the fold and see if they can control some of that fiery edge? Or will they look elsewhere? Whatever happens, one thing is for sure, the NFC East is about to get a whole lot more interesting, and Washington is right in the middle of it. Fans, I urge you to stay tuned because every new development could have a massive impact on how this season plays out for your beloved team. And just to give you some context, the Commanders have been building a competitive roster, but consistency has been an issue. Their defense, which under the guidance of head coach Dan Quinn, a defensive-minded coach with a reputation for creating tough, disciplined units, has shown flashes of brilliance. But they lack that reliable playmaker in the secondary who can turn the tide in close games. Gardner-Johnson, with his experience and knack for big plays, could fill that void perfectly. Imagine him patrolling the back end, reading plays, jumping routes, and creating turnovers that could lead to quick points and swing momentum in their favor. Furthermore, his leadership qualities, despite some of the controversy, are undeniable. Young players could learn a lot from a guy who's been to the highest stages, who's played in big games, and who's not afraid to speak his mind. And in a team that's still trying to find its identity after the recent changes, adding someone with his fire and experience might just be the spark they need to ignite that competitive spirit. Now, for all you die-hard fans, I know this is a lot to digest, but the key takeaway is that the Commanders are considering bold moves to improve their team. With the trade deadline approaching and roster spots opening up, the possibility of acquiring Gardner-Johnson is very real. And if they do pull the trigger, it could be a game changer, not just for this season, but for the future of the franchise. A player like him can bring a new level of intensity and playmaking that Washington desperately needs to compete with the NFC's best. So, what do you think? Are you excited about the potential of Gardner-Johnson joining the Commanders? Do you believe he can be the missing piece to push this team into serious playoff contention? Or do you think the risks outweigh the rewards? Drop your thoughts in the comments below because your opinion really matters to us. We're all in this together, passionate about Washington Commanders football, and I'll be back soon with even more updates, rumors, and analysis. So stay tuned, stay loud, and let's keep the spirit alive for the best team in the NFC East. Remember, folks, this season is far from over, and with moves like this, the Commanders might just surprise us all. Thanks for watching, and as always, Go Commanders.